Hello, good afternoon to everybody. We big day in girls basketball for us today with the seedings finally coming to fruition and the brackets getting filled out. And for any high school girls hoops fan, it's a big day. Danny, you coach at Magnificat. We got Danny Gallagher with us. What's the day kind of like for you as a head coach that takes part in all this firsthand?
It was definitely a different experience on our side. There was a lot of anxiety, not anxiety, but there was a lot of anticipation all week, for finding out what seed you're going to get, where you're going to get placed by your peers. And then, today, seeing exactly what was going to happen. We were lucky enough to get the 2 seeds, so we only had to wait one spot. But there was so many different scenarios that I was pondering, that our assistants were throwing out, and we finally just kind of realized, like, hey, let's just get to the meeting and kind of see what happens. And it was pretty straightforward for us. Then behind us, it got a little interesting. So the whole setup was definitely different. I liked it. I liked that there was a lot of options for a lot of different schools. So it was kind of a fun afternoon.
Talk about some of the different changes. This was a much different year than any other. Talk about some of those major differences between any other year and this year.
Well, I think the major difference is when you're not assigned to a district, you don't have all of this time to prepare for who you might face. I know last year we had a good idea of who we thought we might face in our district, either district semi or district final, and we did things throughout the whole season to be prepared for those teams. This year, you had no idea until this afternoon. So now you're talking about you got a couple weeks to start to dial into that. So just the amount of time you're preparing, you can take, different days of practice throughout the entire season to be ready. This year, you had no idea, and the field was so big, it was too hard to really try and dial into something like that until you actually knew, where you were on that line and who was around you.
Yeah, some of the pros obviously is it allows teams and leagues like the Federal League to spread out a little bit more. They're normally going at each other, in the second round of the tournament.
Right.
It gives like Hoover, Glen Oak, Jackson, McKinley, they're able to spread out more. That's one of the positives. It definitely it can go be a positive or negative, but the records count so much more. On the negative side, teams are encouraged not to play tough teams so their record's better. But in the end, honestly, some of these teams that pick afterwards might have the advantage because they kind of get to pick where they want to go instead of, let's say a Glen Oak was the first pick. Now they got to kind of deal with whoever decides to join them, as opposed to like the 4th through the 10th seed. You can kind of pick your own path, which you think is better.
Yeah, no, and on our side there was some passing going on by a few different teams. A couple teams passed multiple times. So some of the teams that were further down the list, like you're saying, like 7, 8, 9, had their choice before their seed because of teams passing. So it was definitely interesting. That's for sure.
We're going to talk to Paul Wackerly first at Glen Oak. Let's see if he remembers. Last time he forgot that he had to call in, so I'll give him a couple minutes. If I have to call him again, I will. For teams that when they're trying to decide where to go, how much as a coach, how much does like location weigh in on? For example, the D2 region. One of them has to go down to Central. Where does it become where, do you want to play teams local that they may be a little bit tougher, but do we want to take a trip an hour and a half down the road to play a team that may be a little bit easier to beat? Where's that threshold at?
For me, it's you make the decision based on putting your kids in the best position to be successful. So if we have to travel in the playoffs, you have to travel a little bit further to go play a team that you think you have a better chance to win. You have to make that decision, and that's the right decision for your kids and your program. So to me, that's a no-brainer. But, I think, potentially some communities may not want to do that.
Well, you guys were definitely in a position to do that too, because some of one of your districts went west, the other ones go a different direction. So you had to make that decision yourself. And we got Paul Wackerly to call in this time. How are you, Paul?
I'm doing good, Rich. How you doing?
Not bad, not bad. We won't keep you as long this time. We just want to talk a little bit about the tournament and the brackets. And, my first question for you is kind of last year, this will be your third year being a top seed in a row. And last year you guys were kind of doubted a little bit. Do you feel like any of that is in play this year? And does that kind of drive you guys even more again? Or do you not feel like that's a factor this year?
I don't know. I know it's so different how they did this time. So it's the first time around for everybody. So it was an honor getting picked by all those teams. There's so many teams this year. So it was very humbling, that part of it. But with that being said, I think there's a lot of responsibility now how this is done. So I think it's a little different this year just because of, the expectations are a little different. So I don't look at people looking. I think we're more the hunted than the hunter.
Mm-hmm. I was kind of surprised that more high teams went towards your direction and I honestly thought people were going to try to stay away from you more than what they did. Does that kind of keep you guys on your toes a little bit? That maybe your teams are looking that they feel like they can get you or no?
No, I think it was just I think people are looking at the matchup situations and where they were at, and maybe what are the wins. It really got spread out like as it went. I was kind of like watching the brackets fill in a little bit, and I wasn't too surprised by that, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Well, how do you keep your kids focused? I mean, this is your third year around. You guys have been very successful in the postseason, and here you are again, a number one seed. You get a home game all the way through the district. How in year three is it tougher to keep kids from getting complacent, or easier, or how's that going for you?
I think it's. I've always coached for the tournament most of my career, honestly, Rich. So,
Mm-hmm.
but my kids are pretty much they're locked in. They're ready for tournament. We talk about it a lot, and so I think we do well because of that reason. I think there's a lot of kids that they understand it. We have some really good returning players, so they understand it too. So I don't think it's hard, but I do think that you just got to be ready, and hopefully you're going to peak that time. We've been lucky to do that the last couple of times, and hopefully, this year's team does the same thing. But I don't think it's going to be much different as far as like the focus part of it. I can't say that you're going to win or lose, but I think I think the system's in place. I think these kids understand.
Well, you kind of went into what I was going to ask next. I know that you definitely are more focused on postseason, the regular season. At times, even more focused on postseason than league play. But so. What is it? How do you change gears, or how does your coaching change from regular season to tournament time when it's win or go home?
Well, I think the details of what you do change. I think your expectations about kids, every little thing. mean, you just got to do the small things better, and I think you just start working on that kind of stuff. I mean, I think you start doing more tournament stuff. I mean, because we practice some things that we don't do, so it's a matter of just getting that in place, and hopefully, the system you're putting in place is going to be the one you think fits your team the best. And so I mean, that's how I look at it. So sometimes in the past years, there's sometimes I thought I'd have some things, but then I look back at it, what we had in place didn't work that well. And then the last couple of years, what we had in place did fit, so you're just hoping the experience you have through coaching and the kind of kids that you put the right thing in place for them, and then you just start tweaking some things you liked and didn't like maybe, and you just make changes. I mean, and then you just go with it.
Did you ever think in a million years you would have an opportunity to win a district title on your home court? How's that? I mean, we don't want to look forward, but I mean, that's going to be way different than anything anybody's experienced.
Oh yeah, this whole thing's been strange this whole year. It's just been a different year, a different feel. I think the tournament's going to bring a little excitement for the kids because regular season was kind of tough, fan base wise, all that, cancellations, this and that. So, hopefully that the tournament goes a little smooth and you don't have them cancellations and, who knows what that's going to be. I mean, you don't even know how that's going to roll yet. I mean, so there's so many things in the state trying to, find sites for regional and state. And there's so many uncertainties out there that, you just kind of hope that it goes as smooth as it can. But yeah, being home is going to be really weird to me.
Yeah. Well, Paul, I promised I wouldn't keep you as long as I did last time. So I appreciate your time tonight and congratulations on the number one seed and good luck through the season. I'll be keeping a close eye and I may even, you've accused me of avoiding Glen Oak in the postseason the last couple of years. So I don't want to.
I accuse you of a lot of things. Don't worry about it.
I know. I'm gonna make sure I make an appearance at a Glen Oak tournament game this year, just for you.
Yeah, we appreciate the support, Rich, and keep the good work up with the girls basketball.
All right, thanks, Paul. We'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
Bye. Yeah, Danny. Every time Glen Oak wins a district or a regional, I've literally never been there, and he likes to mess with me, and I like to mess with him too. But eventually, I suppose I should probably be at one of them, right?
Well, that was you blowing us off for all those years before you finally made it up to one of our games.
It's a little different. You're a little further away from him than he is.
Definitely.
My headphones now. Hopefully, I don't lose connection.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
I got you. Yep.
Perfect. All right. I need to make sure my hair's done. Like we were talking about earlier, I was, I kind of felt like Stowe was kind of going to be targeted, because from everything that I've heard and seen, people were all saying, hey, Hoban and Glen Oak are the two teams that we want to avoid. And it kind of panned out where I think that Stowe kind of got the easiest route. I mean, none of it's easy, but, they got McKinley. McKinley jumped into Stowe, which was common sense. McKinley's already beat Stowe once this year. But that was, I think game one or game two. So that didn't surprise me at all. Harding, I think, is in there, and that's really the only two teams that can challenge the top seed in there. And let's see Hoover jumped in with Hoban. I really that really surprised me. I don't know was that something covered?
I saw your tweet this morning about that, and I wasn't. I'm not completely familiar with all of those teams, but that's definitely conflicting styles of basketball there, I would say, after seeing both of them down at the Classic. I think, in some of the conversations I had with coaches today, I think the biggest thing now that coaches just continue to think about is matchups, right? And what position are you going to put your team in? You have to find the most comfortable matchup that you think you have, to make it the furthest. So, I know, the coaches at Hoover do an incredible job. Their kids always play hard. They're really good people. So I'm sure they did their research and felt like, they made the best decision to put their kids in the right spot.
Also, Jackson and Nordonia jumped in against Glen Oak. It didn't really surprise me that Jackson took the Glen Oak route. I mean, they've played them both times this year pretty tough. So that didn't really surprise me. I was a little surprised that Nordonia went in there because they also played Stowe very tough. I would think that they kind of would like their chances in a third game against Stowe, but I really think it comes down. Besides the top seed, I think Hoover has a shot. I think Hoover is so good defensively that they do have a shot. I don't like the matchup with Hoban, but they do have a shot, and the way they defend gives them a chance to win anytime. The top two teams, Glen Oak and Hoban are so tough. It really limits the amount of teams that even have a shot to kind of pull an upset, but I guess that's why you play it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's the fun part of it right now. And on our side, on the West, everyone was avoiding Olmsted Falls big time, and our assistants thought it might even go a little bit further. And I said to myself, with the teams that were coming up, someone's going to take that route to an easy district championship and take their chances in a one game situation, no matter how good the team is, right? So if you can get to that point, and get your kids prepared in that one game situation in a district championship, I think it's a good route to go a lot of the times.
Completely on the other end of the spectrum, but what you're saying there, like Madison, the team from the east side of Cleveland, with one of our AU kids plays there, so I'm pretty familiar. They took the second round matchup against Hoban instead of going into another district where, they're certainly not a great team, but they're not terrible either. Like I think maybe the coach's view was, hey, let's get a win because somebody's going to have to take our game below that seated below us. But there's no way in heck they're going to even come close to beating Hoban. But they could have jumped in another bracket sectional and, took their shot against some average teams like Perry, Canfield, even, the one shot against Nordonia. They could have taken by, played Nordonia in the second round.
Right. Well,
and that's an easier win than Hoban, right?
Well, it's kind of, I think, some of what you were saying before. Potentially, they could have also maybe wanted a home game their first round. So I don't know what their seed was, but they might have wanted to take a home game and then take their chance, beating a better team. Yeah.
Well, we are going to move on to Division II with Kevin. Kevin I always say Bratton. Am I right or am I wrong?
You're close. It's Bratton. It looks like Bratton, but it's Bratton.
Bratton. To me, what you just said sounded exactly the same.
That's why I never really correct it anymore, because why bother, right?
That's true. Hey, you guys, Danny Gallagher.
Sure.
I don't have to endorse him, but you guys came up with the number one seed, and as far as Northeast Ohio goes, you are the team that everybody wanted to avoid at all costs. So what's it say from your team? How you guys feeling going in the tournament? I mean, let's be honest. I looked at your bracket. There's nobody that's going to be able to challenge you, not even close. So, I'm just being
coach. Is that a pleasant feeling for you having to listen to that, or what?
Yeah, I guess we should just cut the nets down right now and forget the formality. But
right.
Since Rich gave us the kiss of death,
if you keep a game, if someone gets within 30 points of you in your district, I'll buy you a steak.
All right. Well,
even though I'm not sure that's an accomplishment, you buy me a steak.
Well, it's interesting because our bracket is definitely got some East Side flavor with Beaumont, Gilmore, Lutheran East. So, it's kind of worked out that way. A lot of local schools, which makes it fun because the kids really know each other. And it's, for us, if we're fortunate to get that far, it'll be can be a rivalry game, with whether it's Lutheran East or Gilmore or Beaumont.
I want to ask you, and this may be a tough question to answer. With everybody trying to avoid you guys, was there? We got Roy from Perry waiting on deck. You definitely cannot get away from Perry. Avoid Perry or Poland because they couldn't go anywhere. But the rest of your district could. Was there a team in the east side of the district that you kind of were wanting to maybe take off to Central Ohio?
It was a thought with our staff as we kind of discussed it. But it really came down to, Napoleon seeing that Berlin Highland score Saturday night kind of convinced me to stay in Northeast Ohio. That was just an impressive win for Napoleon, and they're a battle-tested squad. The Central Ohio, you got, Bishop Hartley, who we actually played at the Classic. And when we played them, they were actually missing a kid who's a key contributor. And there's some teams down there that we just don't know a lot about. So it was almost going with the known a little more than, facing the unknown.
Yeah. What's this tournament run mean to you? Last year you did it as the assistant coach, and obviously the season didn't end the way you guys wanted it.
Sure.
You got an opportunity to kind of take charge and put your own twist on the program, and here you are again. What's it mean for you to be the head coach and kind of now it's if you win it's on you, if you lose it's on you?
Yeah, I'll be honest, I kind of like it that way, so I'm not going to complain. And to be able to coach the group that we have, I feel really lucky. Obviously, we have some talented kids, but they also are kids who are hungry and put team goals ahead of individual goals. Our leading scorer is averaging 14 points a game, which, we have a number of kids who could be averaging in the 20s, but they're willing to sacrifice. So I think our kids know what the ultimate goal in their minds are. I don't even have to talk about it or tell them because, to compete for a state championship is really all their goals.
Yeah. Again, I kind of already established what I think is going to happen, but how do you keep your kids focused and not, overlooking some of these teams that and most likely don't have a shot, but you still got to obviously go get on the floor and play it?
Sure. I think last year helps us, that experience where these kids were told by a lot of people, community members, parents, teachers, that, it was a foregone conclusion they were going to win a state championship. And then West Branch just really took it to us. And that was a great eye opener for our kids and how hard it is to win a state championship. So, I think the hardest thing at the Division II level is, we are talking about schools from Shaker Heights in the east, all the way to Lorain County in the west, all the way down to almost Canton area. You're talking about a huge group of teams, and a lot of us really don't know each other. So, it's hard to really put a gauge on, what's basketball on the east side of Cleveland, the west side of Cleveland look like. And obviously, as you head south, it's a different style and different level. So it's going to be interesting, I think, for all of us.
Looking across the state, there's some teams that are really emerging in the Division II level, which, for a fan of like myself, like looking forward, like the Sheridans, the Napoleons, you guys. I think you guys probably have the toughest district. You obviously split up, but, before you split up, you had CVCA, Norton, Northwest, Rocky River. You guys are it was pretty tough treading there. But looking forward, there are some really tough teams in D2. How do you feel that your schedule, and I know that your schedule was brutal. How important was it for you to play a schedule tougher than your tournament run?
Well, I mean, I think that was the goal. I mean, we're heading to Rocky River to take on Dan and his squad on Wednesday, so we're looking forward to that. And then Glen Oak Saturday, finishing with Berlin Highland next Wednesday. If we can't get ready playing those three teams, man, I don't know what else we could do. But I think the kids understood that it wasn't about our record this year, but it was about being battle tested and being in situations where, Newark comes in your gym and really takes it to you, and you gotta react and come back and prepare for the next game. And we played Reynoldsburg. We played 3 games at the Classic, which was a grind for our kids. But I think they knew that this was going to be difficult. It was going to be tough. And we wanted it to be that way. We wanted adversity, which we've had some, and it's been really good for our kids.
Did you just say you got to go to play Mags on Wednesday?
Yes.
Danny, would you like to ask any questions? Game plan style, I didn't.
He's got 85 films on us. I know he and Coach Bruce will be well prepared. I know that.
No, it's a great game for us for tournament prep to play such a good team. Kevin does a great job. Their kids are really talented players, and we're looking forward to the challenge. That's for sure.
Come on, I wanted some trash talk.
Well, the thing I love about playing Mags most of all is I don't have to drive to Shaker Heights from Berea to ride the bus. I can just drive 15 minutes away and walk into Magnificat High School. Beautiful school, by the way, and see that new auxiliary gym. I'm excited to see that.
That's right.
And, it's fun for me because we played a bunch of West Side schools. I'm a West Side person, and our kids don't even come to the West Side, so we kind of have a running joke about that. So it's fun.
Right.
The winner pays for Danny boys.
I'm good with that.
Evan, I appreciate your time, man. Good luck this postseason, and we'll definitely keep an eye on you. I appreciate you, man.
Sounds good. Thanks, Rich, and we'll see you. We'll see you, Coach, this Wednesday.
Yeah. See you Wednesday.
Yeah. Take care.
You too.
That D2 district I thought was the most intriguing because there was like 35 teams. They all got split up into 3, and one of them has to go to Central. I mean, a lot of those teams know so much about each other already. CVCA and Northwest have already split 2 one-possession games. Ends up Norton decided to go south, and it ain't any easier down there once you get to the regionals with Napoleon down there, and Granville is very good. So
where did Northwest end up, Rich?
What's that?
Where did Northwest end up? I didn't get a chance to look at those brackets.
Northwest went in with CVCA. So we are going – I was just up at that game at CVCA the other day, and CVCA won 40-39. So I fully expect another barn burner for round 3. But let's move to the other side of the D2 district region. I don't even know what they're called anymore. We got Roy from Perry. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. How we doing?
Got Danny Gallagher here with me, trying to keep me in line tonight.
Hey, Coach. How you doing?
Great, Coach. How are you?
I'm great. Looking forward to playing next week.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
After it. Yeah,
we were excited to see when you guys sent that email out. That'll be really good, I think, for both of us. So we're excited.
Oh, yeah, another. Did you come on tonight, Danny, just to get some scoop on all these teams you're playing?
I'll tell you, I'm putting my scouting reports together right now.
Hey, Roy, what's it feel like for your kid to play, and earn that number 1 seed? And it certainly was not a easy feat with Poland in there, and they only had 1 win or 1 loss as well. West Branch, Salem, Marlington. That wasn't an easy feat. Like, well, how does that help your girls in their confidence going into the postseason?
I think it's pretty beneficial. I mean, I think anytime you get, recognition, it's good for the team, good for our girls. You talk about the, hey, don't look too much into rankings and things like that. But, they see it. And, when you get some positive looks like that, it is positive, and I think it's good for the girls. So we're excited to get that. And, kind of as long as we stay in our district, we get to play at home. So that's nice. It's a big thing.
We talked earlier this year. We had you on the broadcast maybe like 4 or 5 weeks ago, and even at that point, a lot of teams were saying, "Hey, man, we know that Perry's for real, and we're not really excited to meet up with them in the tournament." But you also have eventually you're going to hopefully meet with Laurel, who we just got done talking to Kevin. Where does a game like that stack up, with some of the opponents that you guys have played so far this year?
Yeah, I mean, obviously a team like Laurel, talent-wise and stuff, they're unbelievably good. And like you had talked to Coach about how good of a schedule they play, so they're pretty battle-tested. They've seen all kinds of things. And, to play a team like that, you got to play great basketball. And, hopefully we get to that opportunity down the road. But obviously we have a lot in front of us, to contend with moving forward, especially, both in our district and then, if we're able to advance, the other district, Northeast 2 district also. So, but, we're looking forward to the challenge. And, I thought we played a really good schedule in December. I know our conference, it is what it is. But, we have some good independent games down the stretch too, right before tournament. So that's going to help us.
Kind of give us a team or two that is in your district that you guys really need to if you match up with them. I mean, assuming you're going to make it to the finals, who are a couple teams that you feel are really strong in that district that you guys really have to pay attention to and focus on?
Well, I mean, Salem's in our district. They ended up getting, I think they were the 4th seed in overall out of the 27 teams. And they've won some big games. They beat Poland to start the season this year. They beat Marlington just the other day. I can't remember if it was on the road or not. But I think they're going to be big to contend with. Kenston's kind of a sleeper team that's in that half of the district. They're down on Salem's half. They have a really, really good player, that kind of leads them. But they're scary. They have beat some good teams, and they play in a Division I conference, and and have beat some good teams. So I think they're right up there contending with Salem. Both of them, whoever comes out of that will be a good matchup.
And I hate to look ahead. I mean, it's almost what I have to do to conduct an interview. But, we talked to Paul Waggerly from Glen Oak first tonight. You guys have won several district championships, but this time, if it happens, it will be on your court. Like, how special would that be for you guys? And, how do you kind of make sure that kind of emotion doesn't get in the way of you earning something like that?
Yeah, one of the things leading up to, we really talked about, wanting to get that 1 or 2 seed because, with the 2 brackets, if the 1 and 2 go to separate brackets, we would have that opportunity to host all the way through. I think we've done a good job playing on the road this year, so I haven't been disappointed with that. But, you're used to your gym. You're used to shooting on your, your rims. And I feel we have a real nice gym. We have a real nice setup. But it's a little bit different. I mean, anything. Kids get used to shooting where they're at, and little things like our hoops, our standards come out from the ground. And for some reason, sometimes that throws kids off. When they're not used to it. So I think playing home does lead an advantage. You're not going to get necessarily the fan atmosphere as normal years, but just playing on our court, not having to take a bus ride. If we do play a team like Salem in the district finals, it's an hour and a half bus ride for them. So I think that makes a difference too. So we're excited to have that opportunity. So it is a plus this year.
All right. Last question.
Yeah.
You guys were set with where you had to go. Obviously, right. The other half of your region was not. How much time did you put into trying to figure things out and say, who's going to go here? Because, I don't have anything to do with it, but I spent a lot of time on the phone with coaches trying to pick my brain. How much time did you spend on that, and how do you feel about how it turned out?
Well, I put a decent amount of time into, maybe not as much of a little bit of who's going to go where, but, I spent a lot of time leading into voting, really looking up some different teams. I knew we were going to get one of the top seeds, but, I feel it's important to do due diligence in the voting process, because I think it's only right. But also I wanted to kind of know, if we did end up with a 3 or 4 seed for whatever reason, what side we wanted to go and things like that. And, and our staff did talk a little bit about, we wondered who was going to fall where, sometimes it's kind of, I tried when I was younger, I spent a lot more time looking who voted for us, where, and kind of taking that whole thing. I don't as much anymore, but I did kind of look like, all right, how these dominoes going to fall a little bit. We went on the board right away. We didn't pass, but, there was a couple teams where I wasn't sure which way we were going to go. And when their number was called, I kind of said, all right, they're either going to go this, or this. And that affects obviously the next team after it. So it's fun. It's also a fun thing to kind of play around with too. So we were excited this week leading up to it. And, we feel pretty good about where we're at, and we're excited for it.
And I know it was, at this point, it seems like it was worlds away, but CVCA ended up taking that district, and they're going to stay in the region. So I would imagine, even though CVCA is a great team and they're much different than they were in November, you at least probably have to feel a little bit good about the fact that you could match up with somebody that you've played before and beat. But like I said, it's clearly much different than it was in November. So the comfort is very limited.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. But, I think a big part of it is just even confidence of our team and our players knowing, hey, we can play with anyone. We can beat anyone. You got a team like Hoban, and, even though we ended up losing that game, we had a lead going into the fourth, and our girls know, like, hey, we should have won that game and gone away with it. So they know we can go out and play with whoever. And, and two, that CVCA district with Northwest in there, that's going to be a brutal district final right there. And neither one of those teams can come out and knock off Laurel. I mean, they're talented enough to do that, with all that talent Laurel has. But, so it'll be interesting. And, if we're able to get out of our district and win our district, to play someone like Poland or Marlington, or, if West Branch is able to get out of there, there's some good teams ahead of us. So we're excited for it.
Well, Coach, I appreciate your time, and this is the second time you've been on with me, so I definitely appreciate your support and making that happen. And hey, good luck the rest of the season. Don't take it easy on Mags next week, but we'll be keeping an eye on you. And again, I appreciate it, and good luck the rest of the year.
I'm gonna.
Thanks for having us.
I didn't know that they played all those teams so close and beat them all. I'm ready to cancel the game now. I don't want to drive all the way over there.
Oh, well, if you try to cancel, we'll make sure you don't let them cancel easy, Roy.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking forward to it too, and we hope to return the favor to head out your place next year at the end of the year, and
that'll be great.
Great. So
yeah, awesome, Coach.
Yeah. Great night.
Thanks.
Bye. The you kind of were in that situation where you had to your districts were going different directions, like we said before. How much time did you put into? And I mean, is it more fun to consider the options, or is it annoying? Is it frustrating, or what?
It's both. At first, when we found out, what seating we got, we were excited. So we started mapping out a bunch of things, or at least I know I did. And then, with my assistants, we were texting, a lot of different scenarios and what we thought was going to happen, and kind of what I said before, as that went on and you started to come up with more scenarios, then it was the, aggravation of, okay, we don't want to wait 36 hours to do this, we want to do this now. So you got to kind of put it down and just wait and see what happens. But I think what we learned is, no matter what scenarios you come up with, you're never going to be completely prepared. And I'm actually just kind of happy we were the seed we were, and Olmsted Falls, the team above us, picked and we picked, and then after that, like I said, there was some fireworks of what was going on with passing and that kind of stuff. And, it was just strategy. It was just interesting to watch.
Yeah. I was going to have Dave come on next, but he had to go get a coffee or something.
Oh boy.
So I will pass him up. We'll come back to him. But we will move on to D3, and we're going to get Rick Geiser in from Waynedale. And how are you, Rick?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Awesome. Congratulations on the number one seed. I know that you guys have put a lot of time in preparation into that. And it's always nice to see your work pay off. That's you guys had a successful season last year. I know it didn't end the way you wanted to, but for Waynedale to get to the district championship, if it has happened before, it's probably been a while. And tell me what that meant to your kids and the motivation that gave them to do even better this year.
Well, I know that we took over 2 years ago, and that was the first time we had made it to the districts in a while. And, we made it to the district semis, lost to Chippewa when my seniors were sophomores. That was a great experience for them. Come back as juniors, and you win that game in the sectional semis, make it to the district semis, and then you advance on to the district final, lose a game to Tuslaw, a very good Tuslaw team last year. And, so all of those things, we've kind of been building this thing. And I feel like the girls have embraced the challenge of trying to take that next step. So that first part of that was to put ourselves in position to get the one seed. And, they did all the things required to get that earned. And now hopefully we put ourselves in a good spot, being able to be at home for the through the district. And the interesting thing is Tuslaw is on our half, where we would have to play them, or maybe Trinity is also a very high quality team that's on our side. So it may end up being a rematch from a year ago on our district.
I would have loved to see Tuslaw go the other side, because I do think that they have the ability to make a long run as well. But that traditionally, that D3 district out there in Worcester, and even it used to be at Triway. I remember back in the Hannah Plybon and Maggie DeVault days of Orville. But that Worcester D3 district, I think, is if not the toughest in the state, very close. How does it? at least this year you got to kind of spread the talent out a little bit, and there's some teams that aren't as good as maybe they usually are. But how do you guys kind of approach this as, hey, this is our year to get this done, and I don't want to say it's a 1-year window, but I mean the opportunity isn't gonna present itself for long. How do you guys kind of stay focused and just get this thing done?
Well, you always got it. We got 4 games left in our regular season yet. We have put ourselves in a really good position to finish out a league title. But that's not quite done yet. So, we got things to get accomplished. Obviously, we'll start looking at trying to collect some information about these potential teams that we have not played for the tournament and make sure we're on top of that. But at the same time, we want our girls to worry about who we play next, and we'll get them prepared for the tournament as we go. We obviously have a talented senior group that is going to be hard to replace, and so we have approached this as let's go for it and see where we end up at the end of the year. I think that's important. While you got to have an eye on the future, you got to make sure that you stay present with and enjoy the team that you have, and we certainly are doing that. We've got 3 kids that are going to be college basketball players next year, and so you're pretty fortunate when you put yourself in that spot. So we're excited about where we're at. We think that there's a chance that we could make a run, but know that it's not going to be easy. How the tournament goes, teams prepare really hard, and so you got to make sure that you're ready to go every night.
When was do you know the last time Waynedale won a conference championship?
I think it was 2006, and that was also the last time they made the regional, won a district title. So it's been a lot of years, and we look up at that banner on a weekly basis and say, if you want to change that, let's go earn it today. Let's go win the day. And that's a thing these girls have put in front of themselves. Like, let's do this. So we're really close. I think we've clinched a share. Obviously nobody wants to share if you can get it by yourself. And so we've got 2 league games left that give us a chance to get it on our own.
Well, you guys have, I mean, the Wayne County League is always tough. I mean, Chippewa is generally very hard to beat. You got Dalton out there. To win that conference, it will definitely be a great accomplishment. And I remember even 2 years ago when you took over, you guys really started challenging teams. You started beating some of those teams that you hadn't beaten a couple years, and you could tell you guys really had something going. And I know this probably won't make you happy, but I've pegged you guys as one of the top 2 teams in the region with South Range. But you have also beefed up your schedule quite a bit. There's some coaches that are afraid to do that. They just want to get wins. They want to focus on the record. But you clearly are able to do both. But how important was it for you guys to be where you're at now because of that schedule?
Well, we had won our first 4 games of the season, and then we ran into Jackson, and that you put them on the schedule because you want to be challenged, and whether you win that game or you lose that game, you're going to learn from it. And we learned some hard lessons that game about where we're at, and I think it was really good for us, and so being willing to play against teams that are really good make you better. And we played Jackson, and then we turned around, and we've had 2 brutal games with Norwayne this year. They're really good, and so that Jackson game was the week of our first Norwayne game, and I think that did a lot of preparing us for that Norwayne game. And then playing down at the Classic in the country against a really good Union local team and being able to squeak out a 2-point win. Like those games are those games are priceless, prepping you for the tournament and for big league games that are coming up. I think that Union Local had a 6-2 girl. That's a tough matchup for us, and we played them soon before we played Norway in the second time. So again, it's valuable. I don't wins and losses. You're not always going to be at the point that we're at this year, but if we're playing good competition, they'll make us better, and you want to be playing your best at the end of the year. And I think that's where we're at.
Well, like I said, a couple of years ago, it started setting in on me that you guys were going to be competitive, and it kept getting better. And we got Dave Schleybaugh coming up after you. And when it really hit was last year when you guys went to Highland, played them. And I mean, I think the final score may have been a 16 or to 20 point loss, but in all reality, you played them very tough and you stuck with them for every bit of 3 quarters. And that was kind of when I started saying, man, this Waynedale team is going to be pretty darn good next year. So I commend you for beefing up your schedule and playing games like Waynedale, or I'm sorry, Highland and Jackson and Union Local. So good luck the rest of the year. Again, you said you got a league championship to try to win here in the next couple of weeks. So good luck on that. And I hope to see you in the long run here coming up in March.
I appreciate that. Thanks for having me on, and we'll see what we can do.
All right, Coach. Have a great night.
All right, you too.
Bye.
Bye.
We got 3 D3 coaches coming on with us. We had Rick, we got Dave coming up, and this is going to be a special tournament run for Dave because he's retiring after the year, and a lot of people know that. Some people don't. Sometimes when I tweet certain things, people text me and say, "What? Why is Dave?" So we're going to get a chance to talk to him right now, and I know you guys have had some battles over the years, and recently you had an opportunity to play each other. So how you doing, Dave?
Hey, doing well. Had a little rough game with Napoleon yesterday, but a little reality check for our kids and staff.
Well, you definitely had Twitter buzzing. In your mind, some people's mind it might be the wrong reason, but for you guys, you play games for that reason. I mean, you guys obviously don't plan to lose, but you and I have talked about this many times. You guys schedule games hoping that somebody can challenge you and push you that limit. So what does a game like that for you guys mean going into the tournament? Does it give you a chance to regroup? How do you guys move forward with that?
Yeah, it was a great reminder. We told the kids how hard you have to play, how well you have to play to beat good teams, and really felt like after our win against the Vegas team at the Classic, I felt like we haven't had a good practice since. I don't know if it was a letdown for that, and I'll take the blame for that. We just Napoleon, they came out of the gate, took it right to us. But you can't give up a quarter against a good team. We're down 20-5 to start that game off, and
wow,
taking the lead in the third quarter, but then and just expending so much energy to get back to that point. And now, our schedule is tremendous. We play Laurel next week, so we might play. Those are a couple of the best Division II teams in the state, and then the rest of it all Division I schools. So, no, we want those teams to beat us, those non-league games, if we don't play really well, and that's exactly what happened.
I'm going to test your memory here. I know Koozy's memory is impeccable, but do you remember the last time you guys were not a number 1 seed going into the tournament?
It would have been Mackenzie Miller's senior year. I'm going to say that would be that was when if I remember right, we were 12-8 that year. Ended up being, I think, the 3rd seed in our sectional. We ended up getting to Columbus that year on a couple of big wins along the tournament trail. But so that's what 7-8 years maybe ago.
Yeah, that's been a while. How you guys were a team that I don't even want to say generally. I mean, for the last 10 years, I mean, I think was the Shady Side the last time you guys lost in the district, the Shady Side game?
Yes. Yep.
And that's got to be 10 years ago now, I would think.
Yeah, I think it's. I thought somebody told me the other day, maybe 12 years, something like that. But it's been a great run. Kids have worked hard. Switched divisions a couple times, stuff like that. So I had to play some different people along the way, but no, it's been an interesting run.
How do you kind of keep the kids focused so that they don't have a speed bump and unexpected adversity, on against teams that you should be beating and generally do?
Yeah, it was another, and even that loss I think was just a really good reminder for our staff as well. We have this saying that we have it plastered on our wall in the coach's office. Says you practice and prepare and practice like you lost your last game. Because once you get beat, I mean, everything just changes. I mean, our kids probably understand that this week's practices are going to be a little different than they were a week ago because we just got woken up a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I think it's really important. We tend to have some lopsided games to start the tournament trail off, which isn't good for anybody, but it's something we gotta make sure we're staying sharp during that time.
I mean, kind of along the same lines, I think everybody in the state kind of feels like you guys are the favorite, and it may not even be close. How do you remind the kids that it's only going to take one slip up to ruin this?
I mean, I think they know that now. I mean, I think, I don't know about a favorite. I mean, I think we got a good group, but, ultimately, I mean, I told you because I think that the last team standing is going to be the team that's the most motivated, willing to sacrifice these next 6 weeks. It's just all the little things, just taking care of what you can take care of as a player and as a coach. Our kids need a lot of rest right now. I mean, we've got 4 games in the next 7 days. So we got to take care of our bodies and our, also, just do the little things that we got to take care of getting into tournament time.
And this run obviously is a little bit more special for you, maybe a little more than a little, as your last run. Like, what does it mean to you going into this last opportunity, and how are you going to approach it differently?
We talk about a state championship every single year for the last 30 years. We've been fortunate that a few of those times that, we were able to get it done. But I guess the plus is our expectations are always so high. We're always trying to do, make sure our kids end their year in Columbus, or I guess wherever it might be this year. So I mean, I try and soak it in, knowing that this is the last go round for me. But I'm more concerned about our kids being ready to play, and we'll maybe when it's all said and done, we'll think about what it was like that last run.
I was literally just going to ask for the last question. Let's assume you do, run the table. You guys get that last state championship. Is there going to be an extra special celebration in Berlin, or is it just going to be just like any other one?
We just, I mean, no. I mean, every one of those championships have been special for their various reasons. And, this group, I've been coaching, my daughter's in this class as well. So, I started an AAU team with this group when they were 4th graders. So most of these kids, we were doing something with them the last, 9-10 years. And it's important to their families and their kids, they're the players, and we want to do it the right way. We want to make sure we give it a great effort here and try and finish it off for them.
All right, I lied. This is the last question. Let's assume you win. I know that your standards to get a kid's jersey retired is very stringent. You got to win a state title, and you got to be the state player of the year, and that's happened 4 or 5 times. and you stick that so solid that you didn't even let your own daughter's uniform on that wall until like 3 years after the fact. Are we going to be able to loosen those requirements up a little bit if this class ends with a state championship?
Yeah, obviously we've got 5 really good players. I mean, I do feel like Zoe Miller's the player of the year in the state of Ohio in Division III. Now, that's for everybody else to decide, but I would have a pretty strong opinion. Maisley, she got 19 rebounds again against Napoleon. She had 19 rebounds against Pick Central. She's played her best against, great opponents and been very, very consistent. She's going to end up with 1,000 points, 1,000 rebounds. But she's going to warrant a conversation for that same honor, I think, obviously down the road somewhere.
And even though she might not get the requirements, I'm gonna throw Morgan Yoder's name into the circle.
Yeah, no, she'd be very well deserving. I've never coached a kid who doesn't take a play off ever, like Zoe does.
All right, Dave. Well, hey, man, good luck the rest of the way. I know you got some tough games coming up for the end of the season, and I wish you nothing but the best on your last trip. And I'm going to be there, not the whole way because I don't like watching these blowouts, but when we get deeper, I'm going to be there to support you.
Hey, appreciate it, Danny. Thanks. Good luck to you as well,
Coach. Yeah, no, I wanted to say quickly. I've been on the girls' side here for only 4 years, but I just wanted to wish you good luck in your final stretch here, and just know that over these last 4 years, watching you and watching your program, I've learned a lot from you and have a ton of respect for you and your program. So, good luck, and I'm really cheering for you guys to get it done here this year for your stretch run.
Hey, appreciate that. That means a lot coming from you, Coach.
All right, Dave. Have a good night. Thanks.
Hey, sounds good. See you guys.
I know it's kind of hard to believe that he literally is on his last run, and most people can't even believe it because the guy's still pretty young.
Yeah.
But I remember the day he told me that this was it. It was 5 years ago. We were in an AAU tournament down in DC, and at the time, his daughter Kennedy was playing on Sports City U. And he's like, I was sitting there with him and his wife, and she's like, yeah, we got 5 more years and it's over. And I looked at him like, what? 5 more years and it's over. And then he stuck to it. It was the plan the whole time. He wanted to be able to watch Kennedy play a little bit in college at ODU, and he's going to luck out. He's going to actually get an extra season now that she's not using eligibility this year. So,
right.
We are going to move, obviously, Highlands down in the East District. I'm sure, Coach Geisler and Coach Fischel, who we're going to talk to next, is not upset about that. So they won't have to run into him until the state Final Four. But we're going to move back up to Northeast and talk to Coach Fischel. Jeff, how are you, sir?
I'm good. Appreciate you putting me after Highland. Those are tough shoes to follow. Maybe with him retiring, this is a passing of the torch, so to speak. Maybe we're going to take over what they've been doing.
He's definitely a tough act to follow. But can you imagine the coach that's going to follow behind that?
Well, I think every coach in the state probably owes Dave a big thank you for what he's done for girls basketball. Because I feel like since he's taken over what he's done there, our game, specifically the girls' game, has gotten a lot better, and it's because of the standard that he set. And wish he was sticking around, but wish him the best in retirement, and know he's going to enjoy that. But certainly thankful for what he's done for our game.
I can tell you this about Dave, and I consider Dave a friend. He's literally been there for me for anything. If I had to ask, if I needed anything, he's always been supportive. And Danny can tell you this too. I think we actually had this conversation not very long ago, Danny. Dave Schleybaugh will do anything for anybody. And, some of these coaches that don't know him, they think, oh, well, he just, he's too good for me, or he won't have time for me, or, that is not the case at all. Dave will sit down with any coach. I don't care if it's Garaway, which some people don't know, but that used to be the rivalry. He'll sit down with a coach in his own conference and give him pointers, help him, be supportive. I know he lets kids play in his open gyms all summer that play in his conference. He don't care if they get better because, in his mind, eventually that's going to have to help his kids get better. So, that's something about Dave that some people don't know, but I encourage anybody who's listening. I know there's got to be some coaches listening. Sorry, Dave, if your phone blows up, but Dave Schleybaugh will help anybody any way that they ask him to. But let's move up to where is South Range technically in Canfield?
Yeah, Canfield, South Range. That's us.
All right. Well, let's move up to Canfield. You guys have been rolling this year. You're another coach that really beefed up your schedule in anticipation for a tournament run. But you guys also had quite a bit of adversity about 2 weeks ago. Can you give us an update on how things are going and particularly on the injury front?
Yeah, it was not a fun couple days for us. We had in a Thursday night game, Gabby Lamparty went down in the first quarter, and ultimately we found out that was an ACL. So Gabby had her ACL surgery last week, and she was able to get to our game last night on her crutches, and she's recovering. In that same game, Bree Kohler tore her PCL, and that's fortunately that's some rehab and a brace, and she was able to play last night. And then we played Poland the following Monday, and in the first quarter, our All-State player Izzy Lamparty went down, and one of the scariest things you're ever going to see. She was unconscious on the floor for about 2 minutes, fell hard and was motionless, and had the Poland trainer who was absolutely wonderful, and a couple of nurses. We were fortunate that a couple of our players' moms are nurses, and we're right there to help with Izzy, but cleared the gym out, and that was scary. And we're very happy that ultimately, as bad as it was nothing more than a severe concussion. And Izzy went through the return to play protocol and was actually able to play in our game last night. So Bree and Izzy are back, and obviously Gabby's done, but that's a tough couple days for a team, and ultimately it brought us together. And I thought we were pretty close before that, and I'm really proud of the group of how close it's brought up after that, because I think it's probably brought to them a realization of how quickly things can end in a season like that. And especially with Izzy and Bree being seniors, it was like we weren't sure, and that could have been it for them. And so they rallied together for them, and it's made us a closer team, and I think really a better team. But that's where we're at, and injuries are part of the game, and we're not going to use it as an excuse, and we're going to go forward.
Tell me a little bit about how things are going with the beefed up schedule. I know that you and I talked. Actually, we had you on the show a couple weeks ago. And one of my concerns was whether the confidence could stay where it needed to be to continue a run. How is that going for the team?
Yeah, it's been great, and one of the best things about what's happened is we lost 3 starters, so we had to have 3 girls step up and start that have never started before, and we went in that stretch 4-0 maybe with them, and so our younger girls have gotten a lot of confidence. And the weird thing is Izzy got hurt in the Poland game, and that ultimately we suspended that game, so we haven't played Poland yet, and they're the best team in our league. So fortunately we've been able to play some games that we've won, and I don't know, we're 7 or 8 in a row right now. And so our confidence is probably as high as right now as it has been all year. Obviously we got the brackets today, and we look at where they're at. And the reason that we play the non-conference schedule that we play is that we don't want to look at somebody on the other line in that bracket that intimidates us. We're going to respect everybody that we see, but we're prepared for who's on that other line because of the schedule that we play. And so our girls, take that to heart and take it seriously, and they want to show up every night and prove to everybody what our program is about.
Your area is a little bit, under the radar. I mean, I know more than most people probably, but even I'm not 100%, up on the area. Who are a couple teams in your district that you definitely cannot overlook, and when you guys meet up with them, you're going to have to be focused to pull it out?
Well, I thought the seeding was pretty accurate, as far as the teams go. Garfield's a 2 seed, and Coach Gilbert's a great coach, and they were really good last year, and they have pretty much everybody back. And then Brookfield was a 3 seed, and they've got a couple sophomores who are, both of them are probably going to be at some level be all state this year. And then Champion, Coach Cole, was a 4 seed, and that's who we played in the regional semifinal last year. And then Ursuline, the private school down here that is always tough and a good challenge, was a 5 seed. So there's our top 5 seeds right there. And, a lot of text messages and back and forth with people asking, where are we going to go? Are we going to pass? Are we going to take a bye? Are we going to play? Who are you going to stay away from? And, I said, basically I respect all of those teams, the top seeds there that, we're going to just put ourselves on a bracket and let them go where they want to go. And we're going to prepare the way that we want to prepare for whoever comes for us, because there's some good teams in this district, and we're not going to overlook anybody. We're going to show up every night at practice to get better. And when game night comes, we're going to be prepared for whoever we play.
Mm-hmm. Before we go, give us a couple things, maybe even just one thing that, you guys made the regional final last year. I know that was a heck of an accomplishment for you guys. What's one thing that's going to take for you guys to get over that hump and make it to the state Final Four this year?
Yeah, I think, we've tried to not talk about that. We've really, and I know it's cliche, really tried hard this year to take it day by day, to have every night just be focused on what we want to do. But this group of girls, they take everything to heart, and what's ahead of them is always a big challenge to them. And when there's a challenge in front of them, they seem to respond really well. So I think the most important part is going to be, I hate to say it as a coach and be boring, but it's going to be in the details. If we can take care of the ball and we value the ball and we don't turn it over, and, we get back on defense and we set up on defense, we're a really good basketball team. And when we turn it over and we don't want to get back on defense, we get pedestrian real quick. So if we can take care of those things, and tournament basketball is tournament basketball. A bad shooting night or some weird things happen and you can lose. But if we can do those things, I like our chances against anybody we come up against.
Well, Coach, I appreciate your time. Again, it's the second time I've had you on, so the support it means a lot to me. And I've had my eye on South Range since you took over, well, even before, but more now that you've taken over as being my friend. But I'll be keeping an eye on you guys, and good luck as you finish out the season and get after this postseason.
I appreciate you having me on, and good health to you guys, and be happy to do it again anytime.
Is there any?
I gotta jump in here, Rich. That man cave you got back there looks like a good spot. Do you watch a lot of film down in that area you got going on down there?
I can't watch film down here. I get too distracted. I got on the other side of this, I got some TV. So film's got to be watched upstairs because I can't focus down here.
Okay. Yeah, that looks nice.
It does look pretty decked out.
You guys are welcome here anytime. We always have good food and cold drinks here. So you guys are welcome here anytime.
I may have to give you some, I got all kind of memorabilia around my office and my house that I can't even get on the wall. I might have to donate some to that awesome looking man cave. But are there any special outfits that we might expect from you? Let's assume you do get to state Final Four. Are you going to go big or we going normal?
Listen, if we play in a Final Four, you're going to see probably the best dressed suit you've ever seen. All right, if we get there, it's coming out. But we got a long road to get there, and we're going to take it day by day. But, yeah, rest assured, if we're blessed enough to have that happen, I'm going to make sure that I'm dressed up a little bit.
If it happens, I swear you and your coaches better come walking out on that floor looking like Lloyd Christmas and Harry Dunn.
You got it. You got it. Burgundy and gold and whatever other color we can get in there, we're going to do it. Plaid, tie-dyed, I don't care. We'll be showing up a little bit.
All right, Coach. Hey, I appreciate your time. Have a good night.
All right, guys. Take care.
All right, bye.
Good luck.
Man, we're 10 minutes till 10, and I feel like this time has just flown by. And we got one more. We got Tyler Bates coming up, and I know a lot of people have been. This is probably going to be the grand finale because everybody knows. Me and Ty have some history, and I think some people when they heard that you were coming on, Ty, that they didn't know what to expect.
Talk some hoops, right? We got some tournament ball to talk about. It's an honor to be on with you guys. I'm ready to talk some basketball.
Well, you guys are 18-0, so you certainly have a lot to talk about. I want to ask first: were you surprised that Dalton decided to stick on your side instead of going over to Cornerstone, or no?
We figured the way Dalton voted that they would come on our side of the bracket, and just based off of the previous few years with their experience with Cornerstone, that's kind of been the game that they haven't been able to get over. We figured they would come try to play us, and there's a little familiarity there, but we know that we've got a lot of work to do before we even have the potential to play Dalton, obviously, with Andrews Osborne coming in with us there as well, and even finishing the regular season. So wasn't that much of a surprise, but when you look at that Division IV district this year, it's not the district it's been. With Andrews coming in, with Cornerstone coming in, with us moving down for a year from D3, it's a lot different. So I think regardless of where we were at on that bracket, we knew we were going to have some tough teams there with us.
Are you guys going to use that as you at the end of the season you gotta find ways to keep kids getting after it and whatnot? Do you or your kids feel disrespected at all, or is that something that you may be able to use? That these teams want a shot at us, they think they can beat us. Let's get after it, or is that a factor at all?
Well, I think as a competitor, you've almost got to look at it that way. We know we would have a game to win before we play Andrews Osborne, but Andrews could have went up with Cornerstone, and they could have went down with Dalton and had a home game, and basically they gave up a home game to come play us at Loudonville and drive an hour and 45 minutes. So I think that's something that might be discussed if we're lucky enough to get to that point. But at the same time, like we said, the tournament's about matchups, and as coaches, we've all been there where you go where you think your team has the best chance. Andrews beat us last year up there, and obviously they have an outstanding team, as does Dalton down on the bottom part of the bracket with us. So, you want to try to find those things that pump your teams up, but at the same time, you need to be ready to go in the tournament, regardless of why someone is playing you or who you're playing. If you can't get excited about a tournament basketball game, I don't know why you're playing in the first place.
You guys generally have had a very tough schedule. I remember you've played Highland, you've played Fort Loramie, you've played Hoover, Margaretta. That wasn't the case this year. Was that by design, or what was the plan going into the season? With the strength of schedule lower than you normally have.
Yeah, we said going into this year, we might not have had like the Fairmonts or the Hoovers or the Highlands that we played, but there were some good local teams against some D1s that we haven't gotten to play in the past, like your Ashlands, like your Lexingtons. While maybe they're not the state names, for us being one of the smaller schools in our area, to get to go on the road and play those teams was still a good experience for our kids. To be frank, when we had our better teams, we felt like we really got something out of those Berlin Highland games, those Margaretta games. But last year, when Fort Loramie just beats the hell out of us, we didn't respond very well. And, we tried to find that balance this year where we're getting enough games in, where we know that we're making some progress as a team, but we're also not wasting a game, which, we haven't hidden the fact this year. We've been very honest with our team. We've said we're not on the level of a Fort Loramie. We're not on the level of a Minster this year. We're not on the level of a Berlin Highland. So maybe in the past where we thought that those were good non-league games for us, we wanted to try to find some better fits. So going to River Valley on a weeknight and playing them there was a good experience for us. Going to Ashland and playing our local rival who we haven't gotten to play in 20 or 30 years was a good game for us. So it's just been about trying to find that balance. And really, we've just been focusing on us this year, trying to get things done in practice and work through these crazy COVID times. It's been crazy.
Are you concerned at all that maybe the strength of schedule may come back to haunt you? Because Cornerstone obviously at 9-9, the record in itself isn't intimidating. But I mean, Danny can tell you they played Mags. They've played probably half of their teams that they played are D1s and pretty powerful. Does it concern you at all that maybe that will be something that comes back to bite you guys or no?
I think the schedule is always in the back of your mind. It's been interesting the past few years at Loudonville with the schedule, because 2 years ago when we made the district finals, we felt like we played maybe the toughest schedule in the district that year, and we came out and beat Orville. Life was good, and then Chippewa got us by 1 in the district finals. They went to state. Last year, we felt like our schedule was a lot tougher than Smithville's, just to be honest. And then they beat us and put us out of the tournament. So, yeah. I'm still trying to figure out that balance. Especially now with home court at stake in your districts. And obviously what Cornerstone's done up there. I mean, Dalton's schedule is very good this year. Andrews Osborne's schedule is good. So we know that teams are playing some great teams out there, and we're just going to have to do what we can do to try to keep getting ready when those games come.
I know that you really value playing in the cage, and you think, well, you don't think. It is a great atmosphere. I've been there. It's obviously different this year than it had been 2 or 3 years ago with the attendance, but I know that's something that you value, the home court advantage. How excited were you when you found out that, hey, we could have a home game? Well, you will, as long as you're alive in the tournament, you will have a home game until regionals. How did you respond to that news?
It's really exciting. Obviously, we'd rather play down in Loudonville. I think we're the southernmost team in the Northeast District. A lot of the teams we play during the season are in the Central District or the Northwest District. So, that's a haul. That's a haul for some of these teams to come down to Loudonville. And although we're probably at 20% capacity this year and it's not the same, it's still a tough place to play. And I think anytime you can have home tournament games, you've got to take advantage of that. We're really excited. I do think it's a little silly. I'd love to hear what you guys think, but I think it's a little silly that we're the only district in the Northeast District that's kind of stuck and no one can go anywhere else. You put 3 Division I districts together. We have 3 Division IV districts. They put 2 together and keep 1 by itself and say that it's because of travel, but then Andrews has to drive an hour and 45 minutes to play in Loudonville. So I don't know about that, but I know we're making progress this year with the blended districts. I like that, but at the end of the day, I'd love to see it so the entire region is blended so we can get the best teams there every year.
I agree. When I saw that, it looks goofy because really, I mean, there's no difference between Cornerstone going to Loudonville or Loudonville going to Cornerstone than Western Reserve going down to Loudonville or East Canton, or it looks a little. It was strange to me.
Dalton going to McDonald. Yeah.
So wait, what happened here? There's 2 districts that are gonna play each other, and then 1 district. Where are they going?
So Division 4, yeah,
Yeah.
you got it, Rich. You can go.
The east side of D4, I don't know how many teams, 24, 25, and then they got all blended and they got the super district like you guys did. But then the west side, which is Loudonville, for some reason, Cornerstone is in that and Andrews Osborne's in that, and it was just their 13 teams or whatever, and there is no super district. It's just the only district that's a district in Northeast Ohio. So it was a little strange, but
That's definitely a thing. Yeah,
you got to do what you got to do. I was going to ask you a question, now I forget. Oh, okay. Early in the season, I mean, I don't want to twist your words or make it seem like something that it wasn't, but you were definitely not opposed to canceling the season or postponing or, doing whatever needed to be done to keep people safe. Now that you're 18-0, I mean, you're cruising. Do you feel differently about that now? Or, if something comes down next week, are you going to be supportive of it, or you want to keep rolling?
Well, we thought in the fall we could have a pretty good season. Just being back, knock on wood, to full health, bringing some experienced kids back. We thought it could be a good season. At the same time, I'm still every day nervous for my coaches and my players that something's going to happen to them. And I've been almost at times worried more about managing that in practice than I have been probably coaching the team. So that's always in the back of my mind. I think there was a point where we got to about 10-0 or 12-0, and I told my coaches the one day, I can't imagine how those guys felt last year when they were down in Columbus and the season got yanked out from under them. I was nervous in the preseason because there were rumblings going around. There was a survey sent out asking ADs about delaying the season, and I'm like, we're playing football tomorrow. We've got state finals games coming up. We can play. And I was at the point where if we were going to start practicing, I really wanted us to play. And if you're not going to let us play, don't let us practice for 2 or 3 weeks and then kind of pull it out from under us. So I give everyone that's pulled it off this year, the OHSAA down, a lot of credit for making this season run as smoothly as possible. I mean, I know you guys talk to people in other states surrounding us that aren't getting to play, and they're just devastated. So even though it hasn't been normal, there haven't been post-game celebrations and pep rallies and things like that. We haven't gotten to go scout, really. I know, Coach, you've watched a lot of film. It's weird not going to the games to scout, but we'll take it. That's for sure. It's a lot better than the alternative.
Yeah, no, I earlier this year, I know, Rich saw me there. I went down to the Classic a day early. We played 2 games, but I went down on Saturday and, scouted 3 or 4 games, and you just forget how nice that is, and I was thankful to be able to sit and watch 3 or 4 games of other teams, even though, we were going to play some of them, but there was a couple games where we weren't going to play either of the team, but just to be able to sit in a gym and watch the game, you forget the little things that, you take for granted. And, to talk about a little bit what you said about worrying about, other coaches and your players and how it's affected the season and your thinking and how this has moved forward. We started the year really rough. We were in a quarantine. We had individuals quarantined. We lost games and, we were 0-3. And I know that had a major effect on it. We played really good teams that we might not have beat, but it was just our mentality every day that I was worried that we were going to get shut down every single day. And I was coaching that way, and it made it hard. And it wasn't until I was able to step back, kind of like what you were talking about, moving forward, step back and say, hey, I've got to coach this team as hard as I can every day with all of the protocols that are put in place by the OHSAA and the schools and all that, and trust that that's going to work. So I agree with Tyler that I think everyone has done a really good job of keeping it safe and being able to move forward and get to this point of the season so far.
Ty, you also, just like Jeff Fischel that we just got done talking to, you are also a big dresser at times. Now, I know you usually reserve it for like classic games or other big games, but let's say you guys get to a district final or even in the regionals or maybe the state final four. What can we expect to see something, or are you just going to play it cool?
Well, I tell you what, I don't know if we make a district final against Cornerstone, if it's smart that I come rolling out in that red suit with the tradition that they've had. But, it's in the closet. I might have to run a couple miles to get to fit back into that this year if we're going to have a big game coming up. But it's always there, and it hasn't been the same this year without the crowds there and the fans. But I think the farther along the season goes, people start asking about that. And, hopefully we have some big games coming up where maybe that's an option.
Well, I appreciate your time. I know there's a couple dozen people that are watching right now just to see if we are going to get in a fist fight virtually. But it is nice to be able to talk and be mature adults. And
I thought for sure I was on to be a referee tonight, guys. So.
Well, the Royal Rumble's tonight.
Thanks for not putting me in that position.
I appreciate you guys having me. I appreciate you having me. Thank you.
All right, Ty. Good luck the rest of the year, and I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that district because it's definitely intriguing to me. And you guys make it out. I'll be happy for you. I know how much time and effort you put into that program, and regardless of what's happened between us in the past, I will definitely, be happy that you've achieved something that you've always set out for. So,
hey, I appreciate that. That means a lot. I hope you guys get to watch some good basketball the rest of the way. Good luck, coach, and let's make this push here and finish this season strong. I appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Good luck.
All right. Well, Danny, that's it.
Hey, we made it.
Hour and 40 minutes almost. We got to talk to 7 different coaches. I appreciate you coming on and keeping me in line.
Yeah, it's always fun, man. Talking about some of those schools, that Division IV that I haven't heard of and getting to know them over the last few years. That's fun. And man, we talk about Cornerstone and Dalton and Loudonville. Those teams can play, man. They have some players that are good. And I don't care what division they are. They can play with almost anyone.
I think your Wi-Fi decides to kick you out at 10 o'clock at night because I'm losing you.
Oh, boy. Did you lose me? You got me now?
I got you. You're back.
All right. No, I just said how, getting to know some of those Division IV programs, they have some talent, man, and they are some good, solid programs that can really play with anyone. So I'm excited after hearing all those teams that are in that district to kind of follow that because, I've definitely gotten to know Lisa and some of the kids over at Cornerstone, and Lisa has become a friend and does an exceptional job. So I'm always keeping tabs on them, but just to see, who they're playing against and the talent that they're playing against will be fun here down the stretch.
Absolutely. We got a lot of games to keep an eye on. We're going to get started. And obviously, it's going to dwindle down by the day, but it's excited to get started. So good luck to you and the streaks up there. I know you guys got a couple of big games coming up even before the tournament starts, and then you'll get after it. So, again, good luck, and I'll be watching.
Thanks for having me, Rich. I always enjoy it, buddy.
All right, Danny. We'll talk to you soon.
Have a good night.
Thanks for listening, and have a great night.